A beautiful morning to you wherever you're watching the program International Desk, live from our studios in Abeokuta, Ogun State Capital. I am Mochisola Shulaja, and I have with me our tech guru, Adekunle Durosimi. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
In a world where social media shapes global politics and influences international relations, we're diving into the stories that matter, from the impact of leaders' tweets to the rise of digital diplomacy. We'll explore digital landscape as it reshapes global affairs in a world where media shapes global politics and influences international relations. Today, the topic is social media and global politics, and that is why we have a tech guru in the house. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Yes, the topic social media and global politics. Let's start with an intro of that. What would you say about it?
Okay, thank you very much. When you use the word social media, it's something majority are conversant with. It's a platform where we have interchange of communication, experience, and let me give the example. We talk about WhatsApp, we talk about Facebook, we talk about LinkedIn, we talk about TikTok, we talk about X handle, we talk about Instagram. These are social media platforms, exchanging communications. People use it in various organizations. The politicians use it in disseminating information. Offices, organizations use it as a platform. So it's indeed a means of communicating. Rather than in fact, in most schools today, you see lecturers posting memos, circulars for students through the social media platform. So we all refer to social media platform as something very key and important. And when you use the word, politics, global politics, we know what politics is all about. Nigeria is also preparing ahead of 2027. We've seen a lot of, before the commencement of the program, talking about the parties, talking about registration and the like. So now we're looking at what the two entails.
Okay, so right now, politically, social media is actually aiding in information dissemination and, of course, policies too.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, let's take a look at some of the ways the people using social media the most, that is the youth. Now, well, in some areas they are called the Gen Z. So let's talk about the impact this is having, talking about the policies of government, how they react, how they relate, with those policies.
Thank you very much. Remember, during the last two elections in Nigeria, there's a political party that did what is called opinion poll. And they did that opinion poll, looking at what the youth have to say about this. Major discussion about, what is going on in the political space is being discussed on any of the social platforms, especially the X handle. That's where even some of the so-called politicians, when they want to declare for anything, they consider that as one way of doing things. When they are going for rally, they stream the activities for people to see. I'm talking about the youth. Like you have said, Gen Z, not only the Gen Z that are there, majorly the elite, or somebody who believes that he or she wants to communicate to people, see what is going on, this and that, and if you want to see any kind of backbones, anywhere to drag the so-called politicians, the so-called, this and that. So it's only social media platform where you can, have access to, where you can see a governor or senator or House of Rep member or House of Assembly member or the so-called top politician responding to individual, and that's where some of them will even see that this is that. We've seen quite a number of people posting information about a particular politician that this is not happening, and the politician is responding. Yesterday, the Minister of Interior did an unscheduled visit to, and I was watching the video on his X handle, seeing the way he was relating with them, why they need to, step up their activity. So everybody, whether politician, whether Gen Z, whether individual, will rely on what social media does, because it's a means of platform. In fact, sometimes before some people offer prayer in the morning, the first thing you do is, let's see what is going on. It is now you now look at it, let me pray to God first, to, you know, this and that, and it has been a key platform. I can remember the Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy mentioned that we have about 50-something million active users on WhatsApp today. It's somebody's office, it's somebody's way of, you know, communicating. Even when politicians want to make announcements, the Ministry of Interior will look at it, what was the date for Christmas break, New Year break, Ileya break, and the like. So they use the X handle, you know, to communicate the activities. And people believe once this is you know, verified handle, people believe the such information.
Okay, and now let's take it to the global landscape now. Over the years, the direct focus is actually on the United States, but before we throw it down to the United States, let's take a look at how it is shaping politics globally.
Yes, you see, politicians all over the world rely on the power of what social media can do, and that's why I can remember a country like Togo banned the use of Facebook recently. We have seen quite a number of countries like that because exactly. The America you mentioned, there was a time the American president was suspended from, you know, Twitter platform. That was when we are still calling it Twitter, owned by Jack Dorsey. Now it's owned by Elon Musk, X handle. He was suspended because people look at that platform. Now, social media has a lot of powerful tools that social media can, the so-called politician can use. People just think that when you go to Facebook, you go and like a comment of one politician, and they just look at it as something that it's only 10 people that like that. Using social media platform, they have the idea of what people are saying in a particular location. Now, globally that you have asked, it also determines what is going on. When you look at the last American election, the debate between this woman and Donald Trump, all the discussion as they are moving around here and there, everything is on X handle, it's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn, they are posting it, people can react to it, because social media is a platform where, you know, they know that what the individuals cannot even tell them face to face, they will go there and write it. Do you understand? If you just, let me digress a little bit, what happened in the last 2-3 days as regard Fela and Whiskey, it has turned to another thing on Next Handle in the last 2-3-4 days. Who is the biggest among them, this and that? You see quite a lot of comments, people are digging this, people are digging that, and the so-called the politicians, sometimes they will go and bring some of your tweets, what you have said, a particular government. I remember when this administration appointed Buhala, people brought what he was doing when he was writing against this present administration. So many information like that, people drag mockery several times on this platform. So globally, everywhere in the part of the world, social media has actually changed people's thinking, mostly when it comes to the election. They use that data to determine whether it is time for them or this and that. So it has actually changed many things, and it determines a lot on social media platforms. Though some people will tell you that some will say in social media they will not vote, they will not do this. But if you don't pay for online presence, you are not promoting your content, your online presence is not that solid on social media, forget it, because that's where the message will come, that's where people will get the idea. So globally, everybody rely on what is on social media platforms.
Now, if people rely on social media platforms, I began to wonder. I mentioned Uganda the other time, and I realized that some countries, when it's close to election period, they ban social media.
They ban it because you know the way we do our things in Africa. You have just watched AFCON. You know, Africa has not changed, and that's why we always use the word, it mustn't be white to be right. So sometimes Africa, we want to talk about the use of freedom of speech, and that's why, you know, there was an administration who actually suspended the use of Twitter in Nigeria. So the same thing applies to that place. They know that these tools determine a lot, because it's one of the easiest tools for them to communicate. So when it comes to a government coming and saying, we are banning the use of Twitter, we are banning of social media platforms. Of course, it's a political strategy that an opposition or those in the opposition can use against those in the government, and that's why they tell that, okay, let's go to the length of banning this. And two, another reason is that sometimes when social media is not being regulated, and that's why there have been a lot of move from the Ministry of Information here in Nigeria that social media platforms should be regulated. There are instances where people use social media platforms to disseminate wrong information against one politician or the other, and that's why some countries in Africa, instead of looking for a way of solving it, the way Africa reacts when Morocco wants to stop anybody from winning Nations Cup. Look at different strategy even among the so-called legend among them. So the same thing applies to what they do. So the next thing is they will pronounce it, we are stopping you from the use of social media. It happens in many African countries because they know that indeed a powerful tool.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, I want us to take a look. You said earlier on that some people use it to disseminate false information, fake news.
Fake news.
So I want us to take a look at definitely everything that has its advantages, information dissemination, policies of government and all the things will definitely have the disadvantages. Now, let's now weigh the two.
Thank you very much. If you look at the disadvantage of the what people are disseminating on information or social media itself, it has a lot of bad influence. People have lost their lives, people have lost businesses, people have been misinterpreted. Some people just come up with an information because of level of digital literacy in the whole world, not only in Nigeria, even in all these African countries you mentioned. Last 2 years, I had the privilege of going to about 7 or 8 African countries. I see that in fact some of them are still far behind what people understand in Nigeria. Even over there in abroad, there are level of digital literacy. We just look at it that technology is being disseminated from the Western world. That does not mean some of them can, really differentiate. We still have those who are digital illiterate among them, and that's why a lot of politicians can also use it to disseminate wrong information. So it has created a lot of, when you look at the disadvantage, in fact, it's enormous. It's enormous. People cannot differentiate this one which is right or wrong from some of the information. That's why the social media platform to introduce something like a blue tick, they verify this and that, okay, this is even coming from, and it will even go to the length of being asked. Sometimes you could remember during there's a particular election back then, one of the things people used against Hillary Clinton was the fact that he was using a commercial email address, one of the issues when people were criticizing. So technology, social media, it has a lot of influence when election is coming, when it comes to discussing the political things, because sometimes instead of even going to media and do this, you see people and saying, I'm going live now. You see people will be waiting for somewhere now. They look at it as if it's a platform that, we have to go live with this person, let's see what he or she has to say. So it has really affected a lot when you look at the disadvantage of what social media has done.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Adekunle Durosimi has talked about global social media and how it is influencing global politics. He has partially talked about the advantages and disadvantages. Now, when we come back, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll take a look at 1 year of Donald Trump in office and, of course, cyberbullying. Stay with the People's Daily.
Cybercrime is a way of using telecommunications.
The program is still International Desk, live from the People's Ogun State Television here in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, and we're still talking social media and global politics. I said earlier on that we'll be taking a look at President Donald Trump's one-year anniversary and his use of the social media, his presence on the social media. On Tuesday, that was yesterday, his one-year anniversary was celebrated, and over the years he has been bringing about policies that have been generating controversial policies, which is affecting not just Americans but other countries across the globe. So, Mr. Duro Sime, I want to ask, how would you assess 1 year of Donald Trump and his presence on social media?
He's a tough man. You know him. He can just do and undo. Like what you have said in the area of social media. Like I said in the beginning, at a point in time he was suspended on a social media platform, but he's back. You know, he can just put any post and he can, write. You know, the way he talks and the way he has been. There are quite a number of cyberbullying around some of his comments. I can remember during the election when he was vying for that position, he brought out AI-generated video of Barack Obama. That one was trending. He wrote so many things about his running mate, this and that's been some of his trends when it comes to the use of social media. And for a whole American president, putting a tweet like that, and that changed a lot of narrative. People want to believe what he's saying. Some people want to go against this and that. And those tweets, even without promoting such tweets, millions of people want to see what this American president is trying to say, and that's why it creates a lot of attention.
And just yesterday or 2 days ago, there's an issue concerning the Greenland, which he wants to take over, and just yesterday there was an AI generated of him mounting the flag, American flag, and so a lot of people have been talking about most of his policies, the fact that he bullies other countries, and of course we shouldn't forget the fact that even his first term, there was the issue that happened just before he left office. I've forgotten, but then a lot happened. So I want us to talk about how he has been going about this, and unfortunately there has been no way to checkmate it. When you look at when he was vying for this, re-election, he has about 38 count charges against him, a lot of issues. Everybody knows Donald Trump, and that has always been the trend of most of the so-called Republicans. They are president that they want people to know that they are the one, when it comes to going to war, when it comes to doing all sorts of things. And that's why I'm not surprised of what Donald Trump has been doing. And when it comes to the major one we are discussing about, the cyberbullying, and it has really affected quite a number of people. People were not expecting some tweets from him, that being American president of that caliber and of his age, and that's why people could also make a lot of AI generated videos about him, and that mislead a lot of people that cannot even detect whether this video is genuine or not. So because of the kind of person he is in the office and the way he uses his social media, he believes so much on that use of social media, and that's why we can see a lot of bullying of coming from him to other African countries. Now he's saying he can do this to this African country. Nigeria is not also left out. You saw what we experienced about some weeks ago, that even got to Kwara State here. These are some of the things that we are talking about him. But there's what is called censorship.
That's something about Donald Trump that you live for him. Do you understand? It's something that is conversant in doing. Do you understand? When it comes to his attitude. His attitude, you know, is a situation whereby he was in a meeting with some African leaders. He said he was asking Liberian president, which school did you attend? He speak good English. So a lot of things about him, it's, you know, you just see him, you know, carrying out an action. So people were not surprised about him.
It still has about 2-3 years thereabouts to go. What do you foresee your projection?
They have to manage him. They have to manage him. The Americans voted for him, and a lot of policies still coming up. And you know, my fear is some of the Nigerians, some of the blacks living in that country. Sometimes when you have a conversation with some of them, they talk about some of the policies bringing up this and that. You know, Nigeria is also one of the country blacklisted that you know, you cannot visit this and that. You know, something of that nature. But like I said, America is not new to that. If you look at when W. Bush was also in the power, that's been the major issue when it comes to the Republican. They always have people of that caliber. I think it's only Democrats that have always been having people that the likes of Barack Obama, Joe Biden and the likes that, you know, we can say they're a little bit cool and calm, but you know, when it comes to the reaction coming from the so-called the Republican, it has always been like that, you know, turning to war, turning to this and that, and we're not surprised about it.
Okay, thank you so much, and I really appreciate your presence here to talk about social media and global politics.
Thank you.
And of course, we've talked about the social media, the presence of President Trump on social media, and you've actually said a lot, and we appreciate your coming. So that is all we have on the program International Desk for this week. We thank you for being a part of it. Have a lovely day.